What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Jared Barnes Show. I am your host, Jared Barnes. It's been a very long time since I've done one of these episodes. June of 2021 was the last time I did an episode like this. If you're watching it on YouTube, I've done a lot of different content in the meantime. I did a show called Tap In I tried to do, failed. I mean, it worked out. It was doing well. I just didn't keep up with the time. I'm now doing the Barnes Brothers College Football Show. And my entire idea for my own show was to never do it on my own. And that's why I'm back, because I'm not doing it on my own at this point. I have 3 people in the room with me. This will be something else because I don't think any of us know what we're doing. And this setup is the most ghetto. If you could picture a college dorm room podcast setup in your head, it looks exactly like that. I'm excited to get into it, though. I'm excited for you guys, the listener, because you guys are going to have to strap in because this is going to be a wild ride of a podcast every single week. But I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to just go around in the room and introduce everybody. To my left on the camera, I have my roommate, my toxic partner in crime, Tyler McWilliams. He's going to be the guy cutting the cameras. We excited to see what kind of toxic things are going to spill out of his mouth. Straight dead ahead of me, I have my former roommate, the representation in the room, the basketball expert, Nate Mendez. And then to the right of him, we have the person I've known the longest here at the school and of everybody in this room, obviously. And, the golf expert, Micah. And Tyler also is an F1 guy, so yeah, I forgot to mention that. So, yeah. But with that being said, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into the conversation and topics at hand. And this week, Tom Brady, he went on to his Let's Go podcast. He addressed his family life and his relationship with his wife, Giselle. He also addressed his career. And, it was an interesting little tidbit that he has to say, and we have that clip for you right here.
I think there's a good difference. I think for all of us, as you get, life changes quite a bit. I think there's different responsibilities that take form in your life. There's different perspective you gain. When I was 25, all I did was think about football. That was my life. It was eat, sleep, drink, football. Because it was my profession, it was my career, and then over time, other priorities develop because, you change and evolve through life and you grow in different ways. So, you take on these different responsibilities of family and commitment and so forth. And, you commit time and energy to those things. So even though once at 25, was I a good football player? Then, I was pretty good. I think I'm a better football player now, obviously. But that also comes with a lot of other aspects of life that continue to change because it is your life. And I think I alluded to a few weeks ago, everyone deals with different things in their life. And, because you play out on a big stage and a big, there's a big camera that's always on you. You're living your life, but you're living your sports life too. And they're covering sports, but they're covering your life too. And you're living your life and you can't stop your life even though sports is happening. So even though I'm, playing in my 23rd year, I have a freshman in high school that's playing football too. I have, a 12-year-old that's going through his life. I have a 9-year-old that's going through her life. So, and I have parents and I have, a lot of things that are really important, off-field pursuits and goals that you're trying to maximize as well. So, we all have different things that are going on. And I think once football season comes, I really lock in on what I need to do and how I need to focus and the kind of commitment I need to make for the organization so that we can maximize our potential as a team. And that's the commitment I've always made. And I've tried to do that in the best way possible and try to bring as much joy as I can to the people that are watching. I never felt like I ever wanted to cheat anyone with that.
Muted myself. Whoops. Yeah, like I said, this is going to be an adjustment for all of us because I literally forgot that I had the mic on mute. But let me go back to what I was saying. Yikes. Tom Brady said a lot in that statement. It almost sounds like a guy that's scared to walk away from the game. Someone that the only thing he's known in his entire life is football. He's 45 and he's been playing in the NFL. This is his 23rd year, almost half his life. He's been dominant almost the entire time he's been in the NFL. He said that he's been when he was 25, he thinks he's better than he is currently right now at 45 than he was at 25. That's a big statement because you don't see quarterbacks play in the NFL when they're 45 years old. You don't see many players play in the NFL when they're 45 years old. So to say that, that's a bold statement in itself. But to retire and then unretire like he did in a month span shows a guy that when he did retire, I think he was scared of what was next because he didn't see anything down the line. All he saw was him at home, and he dealt with that for a month and said, all right, I love my kids. I love my wife. If she's still my wife, that's a whole nother thing. Because he didn't say his wife in that statement, if you listen. He said his kids, his parents, his family. Never once did he mention Giselle, which is huge in that entire statement. Because Tom Brady does everything he does intentionally, and that could not have been an unintentional mistake to not mention Giselle's name. But I hope everything's good with his family. I hope that Tom Brady can find peace in his life and one day retire. But as a football fan, Brady, happy to have you back because without you on the football field, the NFL just would not feel the same. Yeah. But that's all I had on that topic. Shout out SiriusXM for that little tidbit there that we had on Tom Brady. In other sports news, Mitchell Trubisky was named the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers just today by Mike Tomlin. He's the captain of the team. And 2 days ago, the depth chart came out for the Steelers. And Kenny Pickett was listed as third, but as of today, Mike Tomlin said he is the second string, and Denthead, a.k.a. Mason Rudolph, will be third string. In other news around football, but this time college football, LSU had a game on Sunday night. And it was an extremely terrible game to watch. Everybody after that game was saying Florida State's back, Florida State's back. LSU played awful. And it was a big game. It was a primetime game. It was a Brian Kelly coached team, which makes sense why they lost. But there's a guy in the room that has a little bit of a connection to the quarterback that played in that game because that guy is a big fan of the former team he played on. That quarterback's Jaden Daniels. He formerly played at Arizona State. And that person in the room is Nate Mendez, who is a massive, massive fan of Jaden Daniels. Nate, how did you feel about Jaden Daniels' performance, and how did you feel about LSU's performance as a whole?
Yeah, I think I'm happy to see Jaden Daniels. Sad to see the way he went. Just Arizona State's been in shambles for like the past 6 months. It's been awful. But he played a great game. He played a decent game. It was like 200 yards. He threw I think 2-3 touchdowns. But yeah, it just sucks to see like when the rest of your team fails you. And that's kind of something that's been hitting the whole career. Is that the rest of the team fails him. Like watching Arizona State, he sits in the pocket, he was calm, throws a perfect pass, goes to the receiver's hands, interception or some crazy stuff. And so it was just, happy to see him at LSU, happy to see him thriving, but it just sucks to see him lose the way he did.
Yeah, and how do you think it was a mistake on LSU's part to hire Brian Kelly? He's not known to win big games at all.
Yeah. I think what was his last stint? Where was the last time he played?
He was last at Notre Dame, and they didn't win any big games while he was there. Anytime they made the college football playoffs, they just kind of fell into irrelevance. Anytime they had a big bowl game, they just kind of fell into irrelevance. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think Brian Kelly is kind of that wild card. Like every time he gets hired into a new job, everyone's like, "Oh, he's going to change everything." This is the Brian Kelly of old. He's going to change his program. He's going to be revolutionary. Then he doesn't do anything. And I think LSU just kind of wanted that spark. Orgeron was like very fiery and very awesome until the whole COVID thing in Florida. And I think it was a mistake. I think they just jumped the gun on that and just thought that he could rekindle some fire with LSU, but they haven't been the same since that national championship. And I don't think they'll ever be back there for some time.
Bold statement there by Nate, but I'm not going to disagree with it because, to be honest, it was a terrible take. But like not terrible take. My bad, Nate. Not a terrible take. A terrible hire by LSU, in my opinion. But Nate is our basketball guy, and I have a couple basketball questions for you, Nate. The Donovan Mitchell trade. It was a massive trade. What do you think this trade means for the Cavs and the Jazz as a whole?
First of all, I just want to say the Jazz got absolutely fleeced. This deal was awful. There are better deals on the table. But I think you just kind of look at this deal was for Lauri Markkanen. If you look at Utah, kind of their demographic of people there, and their articles of clothing and stuff. They're definitely we're looking for Lauri Markkanen. The Heat had a better deal. They had Tyler Hero in it, but I think he was just too black for Utah to consider it. But all jokes aside, though, Utah didn't get a whole lot of pieces. They got 3 first-round picks, Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and then Ochai Agbaji, who is I butchered that name, but he's from Kansas. He was a rookie. But yeah, the Jazz didn't get a whole lot of pieces. The Cavs are going to be good. Those picks are going to be worthless. But Cleveland's going to be awesome. They struggled on offense last season. They have Evan Mobley, who's a center at power forward. They have Jared Allen, who's a center at center. They have a big lineup, and now they just have a scoring guard. And I think Cleveland's going to make the playoffs by itself. No play-in tournament. They're going to be a top 6 team in the East, even though the East is stacked. East is stacked, and the West no longer has Utah. So the West is going to be more wide open. I think they have some better teams in the East. But Cleveland definitely won this trade, in my opinion. I don't think there's any usable pieces that Utah got from this trade. Yeah. That's what I have to say about it.
I'd agree with that take, and I feel like the majority of the internet would agree with you with that take that Cleveland won this trade. Your hilarious little line of Lauri Markkanen is a little bit more of the demographic for the Jazz because he's white, for anybody that didn't catch that. Jeez, that's too much. But I got one more basketball question for you. The Lakers. Patrick Beverley and Russell Westbrook. 2 guys that are a little bit flashy, maybe not with their play. Patrick Beverley, very aggressive defensively. Russell Westbrook, ball hog. 2 very loud and boisterous personalities, some would say. How do they fit into that locker room that the Lakers have together? Like, how are they going to fit in there together?
I am very excited. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be the Showtime Lakers, but for a whole different reason. Patrick Beverley is a fiery player. Him and Russell Westbrook have been going at it for a long time. I think I posted a TikTok a while ago, and they've been going at it ever since Russ was in OKC, ever since Patrick Beverley was in Houston. They have a deep rivalry. But I think that the Lakers made this deal to eventually trade Russell Westbrook to unload him. I do not see Russell Westbrook, in a Lakers uniform for long. It's just nobody wants Russell Westbrook. He sucked. Let's be honest. He sucked this past NBA season. And I don't see them playing together, but if they do play together, get your popcorn out. It's gonna be exciting.
I agree, because anytime you could get Russell Westbrook and a guy like Patrick Beverley on the floor at the same time, the way they are, even if that team is awful, it will be fun to watch, because LeBron's pretty much the GM of that team, and it's almost like seemingly like he's just choosing to only give himself headaches until his sons make it to the league, which to me is a bold move, because if I was him and I was giving myself these kind of headaches and I wasn't winning, I'd just retire, because he's going to make – he's already a billionaire. He's going to make millions and millions off the court. So I don't know why he keeps doing this. I don't know why he just doesn't feel okay having young pieces. But if he feels like he can win with Patrick Beverley and Russell Wilson, along with Glass Bones AD, good for him. But, yeah, I don't know what he's actually thinking as a GM, but good for LeBron, I guess. If he wants those headaches. But we have a guy in the room that's my golf expert, and we've done our talk on basketball. It's basketball's off season. There's not a whole lot of news. I mean, the biggest news in the entire summer was that KD for basketball wanted to be traded, and then it ended up being absolutely nothing. But all summer in the golf world, the news has been absolutely insane. The Live Tour became a thing, which is a Saudi-backed tour, and the Saudis have all the money in the world. With that being said, they recently just landed a big name in the golf world and an extremely highly ranked golfer. I do believe he's ranked number 2 he's number 2 on the planet. Across the earth, he's ranked number 2, and they landed him on the Live Tour. Micah, how do you feel about Cam Smith joining the Live Tour? What does this mean for the PGA?
The PGA just lost a bunch of money. Let me say that real fast. Cam Smith switching over, everybody knew it was coming the last couple weeks. I mean, for one thing, Scotty Scheffler and Cam Smith have been they've been really good buddies up until the last couple weeks when Scotty Scheffler found out that Cam Smith was switching over to the LIV. And what happened was Cam Smith was playing in a tournament a couple weeks ago with Scotty Scheffler, and Cam Smith was reading his line on the green, and Scotty Scheffler walked directly in front of it, which if you play golf at all it's terrible. It's like a big no-no. So that's just something you don't do. So that beef started real fast. And when that started, I mean, things went downhill for the PGA because they realized that, hey, we're about to lose a world ranking number 2 player. And Scotty Scheffler, which is number 1, by the way, he's number 1. He was just pissed about it. So that's, in context of him switching over, it's really good for the LIV. But the PGA, I think they're going to lose a lot of money from this because they're losing a lot of good players like Dustin Johnson, Cam Smith, Phil Mickelson. They're losing all these players, which were bringing people in to watch the PGA. I mean, golf isn't like a huge thing to watch to begin with. So when you lose, players that can really make the game more fun, you're losing those views, which is going to lose money in the long run.
Yeah, no, like one of my personal favorite players is Bryson DeChambeau because he can absolutely drive the ball, and he's part of Live as well. And since Live has an unlimited amount of money, it seems like, I mean, from reports I read over the summer, they have like $700 billion. Like the Saudi sports fund that is backing Live has that much money. So they can unload it and do whatever they want. Golf just happened to be the first sport they decided to get into really outside of F1. And Tyler knows a little bit more about that. Maybe not the fact that the Saudis are backing every driver in F1. But there was a lot of people on Twitter over the summer just bashing the players. And I didn't fully understand it because the players have every right to take that kind of money. I mean, I don't know what kind of money Cam Smith got, but I know that Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, other guys like that got massive signing bonuses and got absolutely broke off. They don't get that kind of money in the PGA. Even with the $500 million pool that the PGA discovered, the $500 million pool of money that the PGA just put towards extra winnings out of nowhere after the tour came up, was, number one, interesting alone. Where did you come up with this money, and why wasn't they giving it to the players in the first place? That's my first question. And yeah, that's really the only question I actually had for the PGA because it didn't make sense that they just had that much money sitting out of nowhere to add to the prize money. Now they're paying some travel fees for the players. Yeah, I just don't respect the PGA, and I think it's a good thing that Live came around. If you had to pick a side, Micah, which side would you be on? Are you more on the Live Tour side, or are you a PGA guy?
I'm Live Tour. Because they are reinventing the game of golf. They really are. With Live Golf, they've created teams, which PGA didn't do before. So it's bringing more people in. Within the last few years, golf was already booming because of COVID. People were inside. People were trying to get outside. They were trying to find a new sport to watch and play, and golf happened to be that one. You can go out and play 18 holes. You're away from people, and LIV has really done a great job on capitalizing this because they created where you have teams. So there's 4 people on this team, and you're competing, which is brand new to the game of golf. So it's bringing more people in to watch, and I'm LIV back, and I hope one day that LIV and PGA Tour work together. This will bring tons of money in. For where the PGA Tour is getting this money, it's been there all along. The CEO of PGA, he's not lasting. Like, I would say he's going to be fired within the year or two because he was not inventing or reinventing the game of golf, and he wasn't bringing anything for it. So all these players are jumping because there's more money when the PGA Tour could have been paying these players that amount of money. So it's really interesting to see all these top 10, top 100 guys switch over to the LIV, and I can't wait to see what LIV does, and I hope one day that they'll work together.
That would be the best thing for the game of golf if they did, and I hope one day to see that as well. This week we don't really have anything F1 prepared because I kind of forgot that Tyler was an F1 guy strictly until the show started. So we're just going to move right into our next segment and just go around the NFL. Everyone in this room is a fan of a different NFL team, and it is NFL game week. I am excited. The NFL kicks off on Thursday. We got the Buffalo Bills at the Los Angeles Rams, I do believe, on Thursday night, which I'm extremely excited for. I will be sitting right here in this room watching that. And then we got all the other games on Sunday. We got the games on Monday. I'm very, very excited for this NFL season to kick off. So first things first, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So we're going to check in with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Talked about him a little bit earlier. Mitchell Trubisky was just named the starting quarterback for week 1. It's a move that I like. If you watched anything in the preseason for the Steelers, you kept up with anything about training camp, it's been very obvious that the number 1 quarterback on the roster, play-wise, everything-wise, has been Mitch Money. Money Mitch, my bad. Said it backwards. Jeez, struggling today. It's been Money Mitch. He's been the guy. And then in the third preseason game, he had an absolute dime. A ball into a bucket just dropped to Deontay Johnson. Right there proving why he needed to be the number 1 starter. Kenny Pickett has been named number 2. He's our first-round draft pick. If Mitch struggles, fans are going to chant Kenny any chance they get. They might honestly be chanting it week 1 at Paul Brown Stadium with the Cincinnati Bengals just because Steelers travel so well. But my biggest question mark for the Steelers is not going to be their offense because it's not supposed to be good. My biggest question mark is the defense. I would like to get answered this week what my secondary can do. Because if my corners can't hold up this week versus the Bengals, who have a stacked receiving core, I'm not going to feel very confident moving forward. We have a decent defensive line. My linebackers, I don't trust at all. Devin Bush is not good. Robert Spillane is worse. Miles Jack is the best thing we got, and it's interesting that nobody else wanted him in free agency. So I'm looking forward to those questions being answered for my Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming Sunday. Now, across the room, I have a guy that's a Ravens fan, which I'm a big fan of that. That would be Tyler. Yeah. Tyler, how do you feel about the Ravens going into this year?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel very good. Okay. I'll premise that with this: as long as we can get Lamar on contract, which I'm really hoping we will, the Ravens sound very hopeful about that. As long as we can get Lamar back on contract, yeah. Well, the thing with his extension is it's in a few days.
They think.
That's true.
Probably not.
That's very true.
He should get the most money in the NFL.
I agree. He has so much potential, and he has a record.
He has all the leverage with the front office too.
This is very true. I'm not much of a football guy. I've done a lot of research recently. I try to keep up to my team as much as possible. But as far from where I'm sitting, as long as we're able to,
I think someone knocked on our door, but we're just gonna ignore him.
Yeah. As long as we can get Lamar, I think we will have a very solid offensive push with him. And on the defensive side, if we can get Bowser on the defensive side, if we can get Bowser back on from his knee injury, I think we'll be looking very good going into week 1. I think our team meshes very well against.
Gonna get whooped by Pittsburgh though.
Yeah, we'll see how Baby Hands can post up against Lamar.
Kenny Pickett, better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
Still has Baby Hands.
I don't believe that though. I will, on the record, I do not believe that.
For legal reasons, he can't agree with me. But I think we are looking very good going into this season. I think it'll be.
I love you, Kenny.
Hate you. Yeah, looking for this season, I think we have a good season ahead of us. I think we're going to struggle with working on getting our wide receivers in and getting a good choice for those. Having a good lineback, and really.
Will the Ravens make the playoffs this year?
I don't have a prediction on that so far. I'm basically 100% we're winning week 1.
Who do you play?
We are Jets. We're playing the Jets.
Oh yeah, Joe Flacco is playing in that game.
Yeah, we're playing the Jets. So I'd give him a very high chance of taking the Jets in week 1.
All right. That sounds great to me. I mean, I kind of agree. I think it is hilarious that the football gods did make it to where Joe Flacco will probably be starting week 1 for the Jets versus his former team. I hope Joe Flacco pummels you guys, to be honest with you. I would love to see you guys lose week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and the rest of the season combined. I hope you guys don't win a single game.
I hate you too.
All right. We have a Cowboys fan in the room. That would be Nate. He's from Arizona. So, Nate, I got one question for you. It's not really a question, it's a statement. You guys have definitely the worst offensive line in football, correct?
Yes, we do. Yeah, it's gonna be a battle. Poor Dak Prescott, man.
Yeah, and Trayvon Diggs can't cover anybody to save his life, correct? I mean, I watched that video of him getting burned by a nobody in camp. How confident do you feel about Trayvon Diggs? How confident do you feel about the defense going into this season? So, yeah.
Yeah, Trayvon Diggs, I like Trayvon Diggs, He does get burned a lot, but he does catch the ball, Give or take, I'll take the interceptions over like this 5,000 yards he gives up a game, But having said that, I think Micah Parsons is going to take a huge jump. Micah Parsons is really, really good. Having said that, I think our defense is probably going to be average. Our offensive line needs to be fast. Our offense needs to be fast, or else we're not going to do anything. If we're fast enough, we're going to still be a good offense. But yeah, I don't see the Cowboys doing much this season.
My only question from this point, you're a Cowboys fan, and Cowboys fans always think it's their year. I don't think you believe that it's the Cowboys' year, but can they make the playoffs this year?
It's the NFC East, man. Anything could happen in that division. You had a team change their name 2 times. You have the Eagles. You have the Giants. They suck. It's kind of just Cowboys and Eagles in the NFC East. And I think after looking at it, I think Eagles probably win that one. better defense. Quarterback depends on how well Jalen Hurts develops and all, but I still pick the Eagles to win that division. I think Cowboys will come in a close second, and they probably won't even make a wild card. I don't think the Cowboys going to make the playoffs this year.
Am I muted?
Yeah.
Frick! I'll repeat all of that, and we'll edit this again. This is why we're not live, because obviously this tech thing is a little bit of an adjustment.
It's the first week.
It's the first week. We'll do better. We'll do better. We'll do better.
A little aside on the Eagles situation, I have a friend that is a big fan of the Eagles.
Lexi
Yes,
and Jamie.
yes, Lexi and Jamie. And from what I've kept up with from them is the Eagles are going to sleep on that entire side. So, like, it's apparently from what I'm hearing, it's not even a competition at this point. So, yeah, that's just my little input on that.
But I agree 100% with you. I think the Eagles are going to win. I'm with Tyler's friends, Jamie and Lexi. I know Lexi, so shout out Lexi. But haven't seen her on campus. We don't know if she's back. That's an aside note for not. Oh, she's not. Okay, good to know. Good to know. But yeah, I'm a big believer in the Eagles, not a big believer in the Cowboys. There is a team that I do have a lot of intrigue for that's not my own. That's the Miami Dolphins. We have a fan of the Miami Dolphins in the room with us. That'll be Micah Shaner. Where were you born, bro?
I was born in Wyoming. I was born in Cody, Wyoming. And
So why are you a Dolphins fan again?
okay, so it's just one of those things that when you're a kid, okay, I grew up in a household where everybody loved football. That was just their thing. My dad loves the Chargers. My brother loves the Cowboys. So I was like, I got to come up with a team. Me being, an 8-year-old, seeing the Dolphins logo, I'm like, you know what? Let's do that team. So that's kind of my background for the team. But like, I have never wavered or jumped since then.
I respect that.
Yeah. So they could be. I mean, they're not good. Let's be honest. They're not. They're mediocre. They're a mediocre team. They're right in the middle.
I think this year is going to be different, though.
I think so too. And because of the people that they have coming in.
They have the fastest wide receiver in the NFL now, in Tyreek Hill. They have Jalen Waddle, who's also extremely fast, extremely shifty. They're two very similar type receivers. They have Mike McDaniel, an offensive-minded head coach, right? He comes from the Shanahan tree from San Francisco. I saw a video after he got hired of him teaching in that meeting that included Matt LaFleur, who is the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Sean McVay, head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, Kyle Shanahan, and quite a few other coaches in the NFL. And he was the one leading the meeting, teaching these guys. So I have a lot of confidence in Mike McDaniels because he clearly knows this offense in and out. He brought in his guy, Raheem Mostert. So they have an offense, and we know they have a defense. But they have the Buffalo Bills in their division. Tyreek Hill is going to be a difference maker. Is Tua the guy? That's my question for you. Because a lot of Dolphins fans say he is. I'm a Tua believer. But there's a lot of people that do not believe in Tua Tagovailoa. How do you feel about Tua?
This season is a make or break for him. That's my outlook on it. This season is really where he either thrives or he figures out that he's a mediocre QB.
Because he has all the weapons this year.
He does. So I saw an interview with Tyreek Hill, and they were interviewing him, and they're like, "How do you feel like about your chemistry with Tua?" And he said, "We hit it off in practice, and we were doing some crazy stuff out there."
I've never heard a wide receiver talk about their quarterback in the way that I've heard Tyreek Hill. And a lot of people have said, oh, it's just because he wants to talk up like the new girlfriend and wants to diss his ex-girlfriend. But he's claimed that Tua is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL a lot. And I agree that Tua could possibly be one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. Tua's deep balls are going to be the question mark. I'm excited to see what they do. Are the Miami Dolphins a playoff team in your mind?
They're a wild card. I'll give them a wild card. I wouldn't say that they're fully in.
The AFC is a very deep. I mean, everybody in the AFC West can go.
Yeah.
The Bengals can go. The Steelers are the Steelers. The Ravens are the Ravens. There's the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots. I mean, Bill Belichick is still in New England. So there's a lot of teams in the AFC. I mean, I haven't even. We could go the whole way through the AFC, and there's probably about 12 to 13 teams in the AFC of the 16 that could be like in contention for a playoff spot. So, like, do you have them? Do you think there's a chance they could dethrone Buffalo as the division winner?
There's a chance. I'm a believer. Okay, I'm a Tua believer. You know, I didn't mind him even whenever he was playing with Alabama. You know, even though I'm an OU fan, I still love to watch him play. He's crazy. He's a good runner. He's good on both sides. I think there is a possibility. Yeah, I mean the one person that could carry him is Waddle. I think Jalen could be his ticket through. So
I think defenses fear Tyreek to a level that we've probably never really seen a wide receiver be feared, just because he is so fast. But Jalen Waddle heading into it's just going to be his second or third year. Either way, it doesn't matter, because he's going to be very, very good. I'm excited to see what the Dolphins can do this year, but there's a lot of other NFL teams. We're not going to be able to cover the 28 that we didn't cover, but that was around the NFL from the 4 teams that we're a fan of in this room. This thing's been all over the place. So we're going to wrap it up here with our final segment of this week. It's week 1. All right. It's a big week in the NFL world. But everybody that's going to be watching has a food that they love, and is there food that they love to eat during the game. So we have a little segment we're going to do. I don't know if we'll do it. We'll do it every once in a while, probably more in the off season than the actual regular season. But because it's such a big special occasion this week, and I think this could be something very fun, we're going to do a snake draft of game day foods. We're going to go from youngest to oldest. It's a snake draft. So Nate will go first. Tyler will go second. Micah will pick third. I will pick last. Then when the second round rolls around, because there's 3 rounds, I will pick first. Micah will go. Tyler, then Nate. Then Nate has another pick in the third. Then Tyler, then Micah, and then I wrap it up with the final pick. Nate, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Nate, you are on the clock. What food is your number 1 pick?
With the first overall pick in the 2020-22 snack draft, the Nate Mendez I guess, select buffalo wings. Them things fire. There's no other pick you can pick first.
Strong pick for number 1. Strong pick, and you can't go wrong. I think everybody in this room is in agreement. Tyler is up with his second pick. You ain't got to do the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Shout out, Nate.
For the McWilliams, we are picking chips and queso. It's such a staple.
With the second pick, though? Second overall.
Micah, you're up.
okay, I have a much better one than that. Like that. Okay, no disrespect. No disrespect for the chips and dip. No
Tyler, that was a bold second overall pick. There's a lot of food sitting there, bro. You had all the food in the world sitting there. You picked chips and queso? I respect you for it.
I eats what I eats, my boy.
Fact.
Like it's what I eat on game day. Chips and queso, homemade chips and queso.
But ain't nobody fighting for chips and queso. Like, that's a 3rd round pick.
On my phone.
All right, Micah, your pick.
Okay. So my pick for the 2022 draft is pizza rolls. I'm a big pizza roll guy. Pop those in. I mean, you can snack on them the whole time. I love them.
All right, and because everybody, for whatever reason, outside of Nate, decided to pick something obscure. I mean, I like your pick, but like, how are you not going to go with like a Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza? Like, that's my first round pick because ain't nothing hit different than a Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza. You get a little pepperoni, little sauces on there. I mean, you're going to get massive heartburn if you eat more than 2 pieces, but a Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza is my pick there. And then my second pick is obviously, I mean, I'm going with Mountain Dew because you gotta have a drink to wash that pizza down because it is very heavy. So that being said, pizza and Mountain Dew,
Yeah.
specifically stuffed crust Pizza Hut pizza. But those are my 2 picks.
Yes, clearly, Mountain Dew is the best thing to wash down something heavy with as much sugar in it as it does.
Gotta drink the zero sugar. That's why.
Jeez. That's not. If Mountain Dew wants to sponsor us, by the way, very welcome.
That's the only free shout out I'm ever gonna give Mountain Dew on this show.
Okay, but I do have a question for that. So Mountain Dew, there's tons of flavors. I mean, you just said it was very wide. Mountain Dew. What would be your go-to?
The OG,
The OG.
obviously. Well, not Mountain Dew is now off the board. You can no longer pick any Mountain Dew flavors. That is the rules. I made them up just now.
No new Mountain Dew updates.
Micah, it would be your pick now.
Okay. For my second pick, we going with drinks or can we do anything?
Any food is on the board.
Okay. This is one staple that I grew up doing is nachos. I love making homemade nachos and doing that. That is my makes me feel at home. That's where I'm with that.
We'll count it. We'll count it, even though he did pick chips and queso.
That's totally different.
I will say that's different. Chips and queso are completely different. Like nachos, like cheese is already on the chips. That's nachos. Chips and queso, it's a dip. They're not already on the chips unless you're a psycho.
That's fair. That's fair. What is your next pick, Tyler?
I choose ribs, barbecue ribs.
The fact that ribs slid that far,
Hey man,
and I didn't think of it.
I was thinking, I was like, since they all clown me for my first chips and queso pick. I was
Okay,
like,
your second pick is way better.
I'll pick up the big guns and ribs, barbecue ribs on my second choice. I believe it is on to you now, Nate.
I think we just gotta go with like an OG side. I'm gonna pick French fries. I'm not gonna let them slip too far. So French fries are my pick.
If it's fast food, what are your go-to?
Ooh. McDonald's, bro. McDonald's probably has the best fries in the game, in my humble opinion.
That's respectable.
Agreed.
I get another pick, right?
Yes, you go again.
Yeah, and then obviously, since we're already at McDonald's picking up their fries, you gotta get that spicy Sprite. McDonald's spicy Sprite. Last pick. Ain't nobody beating that.
I think that's agreed all around, except for Jared, who is a Mountain Dew diehard till his heart stops. I will go with the beverage as well, just because you can't have ribs, chips and queso, and not expect your throat to feel more clogged than the toilet after Taco Bell. And for my pick, I think is a very all around likable pick. And this will be Arnold Palmer.
Love it, but it's a game day snack. That's a golf day snack.
Fine. Half and half. Tea and lemonade.
No.
Arnold Palmer.
He's got a point because I buy Arnold Palmer's just for the round.
Exactly.
Like I don't buy that to watch football games.
Okay, that's fair.
That's just me.
It's too late. You picked it. You're stuck with it.
You're right. But
Solid draft, Nate and Tyler. I do like the picks. The rib pick that you got in the second round was You should have done that in the first, but I mean, good value there in the second.
Solid pick. He selected Greg Oden in second. Greg Oden was the second pick. Sorry, but it's just a queso. Like,
You're right. I should have thought. I thought I shot better.
Hey, we'll let it, he's all right. He made up for it. Micah, you're up.
Okay. My third pick, because we're all going with drinks, and I think that this is probably good to round out my pick. It's mug root beer. Okay, that is solid, and I would get that any day for a game.
Solid pick, Micah. Solid pick.
I agree.
You guys-
very, very hard to go wrong with a mug root beer float.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't go wrong. You can do so many things with it.
Yeah, no, a root beer float is great, but cheeseburger sliders.
What are you talking about? That's better than better than your dip. That's better than the dip.
That wasn't negative.
Okay.
I made a hand gesture. It was just
Your face.
yeah. I was
very disappointed. That's the look I got.
I wasn't completely disappointed.
Right.
I was very surprised by the pick, to be completely fair. Was not expecting one of the best American finger sandwich meals ever created to be mentioned as the very last pick. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, wow, we went to full 4-guy layout. Shout out Tyler and the tech guy. This was a very different thing. None of us knew what to expect in this show. What a fantastic draft, boys. Hey, round of applause real quick, boys. Great first episode. We stumbled through the gates the whole time, but it was fantastic. We hope every one of you that listened and watched enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. We will be better next week, I promise. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy week 1. Hey, and have a good cheeseburger slider, maybe a stuffed crust pizza. I mean, everybody's last choice for a food is definitely going to be queso and chips. But that's okay. You can enjoy it this weekend anyways. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We will see you next week. Peace.
You can find us on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Rumble, basically anywhere you listen to podcasts. Tell your friends, get as many people as you can onto this. We're trying to grow this. It's not going to be good for a little bit probably, but we will get better. And thank you so much for watching again. Bye.
Tyler, the ultimate pro in actually plugging the podcast, unlike the guy that's named after him. Fantastic. Round of applause for Tyler for being a good co-host. Hey, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for the plug, Tyler. Peace.